Gamers, today I got a little guide for you coming in for the Malians. I am going to be doing the Malian cow boom in Season 6. Now, there have been guides made before. Malian cow boom has been a thing for a while, but I actually never made a guide for it. I don't know why. I think I was gonna, but then I probably just forgot. So this is technically my, literally my first Malian cow boom. Obviously, it has changed since the initial Malian cow boom started. It used to be like super greed and you just, go cows all out and then you just make sofas and, But it has changed over time, so I'm going to show you guys 2 games and kind of explain thought process and how and what you should be doing. So, we're going to start with Malian versus Beastyqt, and then we have a game where I'm playing against Rus. Now, Malian versus Beastyqt is usually a pretty, in my opinion, bad matchup for Malian, because Beastyqt can go 2TC, age up quickly, and then go composite bow archers and gulams, and that makes it really hard for Malians to do. But my opponent did not do that strategy, did something else, luckily for me. But the reason why I'm showing you this one is because this is the version of the Malian cow boom where I went sofas, and the second game is going to be the Malian cow boom where you stick to the infantry units and not go sofas, and I'll explain why I did those things. So, we're going to start normal, 5 on wood. And then you rally them onto the sheep. The 6th villager will go and build a pit mine and then houses around it. You're going to build 6 houses. And you're going to put everything on food until your age up. We're going to age up with Men's Quarry. That's what you always do with Malians, unless you're going some kind of trade build. You go for the other one. What is it called? Saharan Trade Network. And I like to age up with 4 or 5. Both are fine, so this is one thing that's changed over time. So it used to be aging up with 6 or even 7, but I personally like 4 or 5. I'm not rushing into feudal, and the more villagers you put, the less efficient the aging up is, so you're going to lose more resources, right? Another thing that's changed since the old Malian cow boom, I'm talking like 6+ months ago, right? Not recent. Is as you're aging up, what you want to do is you want to build a mill and you want to get wheelbarrow. Now, this game is specifically for the civs that are passive, like China, Beastyqt, HRE, yada yada. And then the second one you'll see where it's like a bit more kind of action-packed and I have to defend. So, I'm also going to be building houses right here. I'm leaving 4 on food because I don't plan to produce any units. Except in this game I did, but I'll tell you why. So one thing that you can do is when you play against more passive civs, what I like to do is make a stable and just make a scout upgrade and maybe 1 or 2 scouts, okay? Don't commit to mass scouts, just 1 or 2 scouts. And what that does is it forces the opponent to either make a barracks or it forces them to put their TCs in their main base. So you either force them to use way more resources than you because you stop at only like 2-3 scouts, you're not committing, or they will be forced to build TCs in their main base so their food sources on the map will not be protected, which is what happens in this game, and you'll see how like detrimental that is to the game. And the decision to just make a few scouts is so simple, right? So, I had 7 on food because I was gonna make a stable. But usually, if you do not go stable, if you just go naked cow boom into castle, what you want to do is leave 4 on food, put around 13 on wood. The reason for that is you want to build a second gold pit mine on the gold, and you want to start building the enclosures for your cows. But like I said, in this game I went for stable, so I delayed that a little bit, and I put some extra workers on the food so I can get a scout or 2. I'm getting wheelbarrow. I'm getting double broadaxe. I'm gonna get specialized pick soon, and now the cow booming is gonna start. So you'll see in a second. I drop off my sheep. I go across the map. I think I only built 2 warrior scouts, if I'm not mistaken, or 1 actually. I had the second one from the start, right? And I'm building a second mill. One cool thing is that you can do is you can build cattle ranches like even once a tile back, so that you can build your landmark next to your town center. This is also something that you'll probably see pro players do, and something that it's improved over time. people used to be building cattle ranches like here, 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 here. And then when you're aging up, you have to go here to build it. But the way to do it a little bit better is build a kind of cattle ranch here on the side to TC and on the other side too. So then when you're aging up, your landmark is right here and your villagers are next to your TC, so it's super safe. And then your cows are also closer to your town center to defend and, you know, not get harassed. So he's building the first TC here because he wanted to go for 3 TC. And now when I arrive in Warrior Scouts, his, like, the option for him to go for a 3rd TC on food somewhere is not there. And this will come into play a little bit later. Now I'm just making cows. I got eco upgrades. I usually get horticulture at the end, because if you're going this kind of cow boom, you will only be having a lot of villagers on food later, and you want to get horticulture because it does apply to cows in the cattle ranches. And now he has to make a 3rd TC here on gold, so the scouts, even though they did no damage, they kind of did damage. I'm getting pit mine over here on the far gold. If you're playing against the passive civ, you can just go on the big gold as your second pit mine. Obviously against more aggressive, you don't want to do that because you're going to lose it. And now the cow boom continues. You can see the villagers split. Now I'm rallying onto the food because I slowly want to start aging up. And yeah, you can see now, like, the way that the ranches are, right? I can build a landmark here, and if my opponent was like poking from here, they wouldn't be able to deny the age up. Doing some harassment, just being a little annoying, forcing units out. And now we're aging up with Grand Fulani. So this variation of this game, or this build, is very passive, right, from my side. And now I'm going to go into multiple stables. So what you want to do with this kind of style is, if you're not getting attacked, you want to be aging up, building stables. So you want to keep having workers on wood because you want to build a lot of production now. We want to build a lot of production. So I'm going to build 3-4 stables. I'm going to get a mosque for the relics, which is very important to take immediately, and then capture sacred sites too once you're done with relics to start the sacred site timer. Meanwhile, I'm going to be building sofas, and I'm just going to run them everywhere. I'm also going to get blacksmith for the +1 ranged armor, and I'm just going to run sofas everywhere and cause as much chaos as possible. Now, my opponent actually chose to just keep massing units and try to landmark snipe me, which is a thing that people do, where you go for a crap ton of villagers, you go rams, and you just try to landmark snipe. But I had enough units to defend, so it was fine. But if Abbasid at this point was aging up, or he wouldn't be aging up now, he would be aging up in a little bit, then he would have a lot less units, so the harassment would be a lot easier to pull off. So I age up right here. I put 22 on wood because I want a lot of wood, and I'm going to have enough food from the cows to, for now, support my unit production. I'm getting +1 ranged armor, and this style is usually centered around playing against defensive civs, that if I go Sofa, they go Spearmen. Then I want to go Archers, and they're going to go, you know, probably crossbows or archers as well. So the reason why I have 26, 27 on wood is because I'm going to be building 5-6 archer ranges, and I'm going to get poison arrow, veteran upgrade for archers, and then I'm just going to go Sofa and then poison arrows and try to overwhelm my opponent with that. I'm also going to get my 3rd pit mine. You usually want to do that after you throw down production buildings in castle. And as you can see around, I'm just producing sofas. I'm upgrading them as well, getting the relics. And the moment the sofas start coming out, you start harassing. Now, I've been harassing here a little bit. I got 1 kill right here. And this is the problem with not building your TCs on the food supply, because now he has to build towers and he's still exposed to taking damage, right? There's another worker. Oh, that's the worker that died. So now, just because of that move at the start of the game where I opened stable and made 1 scout and upgraded warrior scouts, he is now suffering the consequences of that, and he's going to struggle to not take damage from the cavalry. Now I have Sofa here, and this Sofa has 6 ranged armor, so I can just sit here and it's going to stay alive forever. But what I do is I just shift Q it back and I then attack the other side. And this is how you usually want to play this style when you go for like cavalry You want to put pressure, put pressure, put pressure, and then when the opponent feels like they finally defended, then your sacred side should be captured, and the opponent is like, okay, let's push, and then you just face them with bajillion archers. Or if they have like a lot of men-at-arms, you can also go for Musafati warriors. But you can see behind this, I have 5 archer ranges, I have 3 stables, I have 2 mosques getting the relics, so the game is going pretty well in my favor. He's going to be transitioning to farm somewhat soon because he cannot get access to any of the outside food sources, and if he went to any, he would be basically losing villagers to the sofas. So you can see again the worker split, and the reason why I'm this heavy on wood is because of archers. If I was going for Musafati warrior sofa comp or Musafati warrior, sofa Donza comp, I would have a lot less on wood, obviously. So I see here a lot of units, and I realize, okay, well, he's either all-inning, you know, or this is just a very weird push. So I have all my upgrades. I'm getting poison arrows +2 range damage as well. And I'm just delaying to get all the upgrades and then go for it. I have some sofa rating, and you can see 7-8 kills. And this is with him massing units. If he wasn't massing units, he would have taken even more damage, right? If he was trying to age up. And now he goes for the almighty villager pull. But, you know, these guys are poison arrows +2/+2. Their upgrades are really good. So that is not going to be working. I managed to clean up. And the game ends. So, that is how you play Malian, Cow Boom, what to pay attention to, a little trick with the stables that you can do. Now I'm going to show you Malian versus Rus. Now, Rus can be aggressive against you, but they don't need to. They can also play it a bit more passive, right? But I'm going to show you a different style where you go a lot of infantry. Now, how do you defend versus with Malians against like a French or Jeanne d'Arc or longbows? Is what you want to do is you want to make sure you're not taking any massive amounts of damage, even if that means delaying your second pit mine. As you age up, you don't want to cow boom immediately if the enemy is being super aggressive. You want to build a barracks, you want to build an archer range, and start making units. And as you're making units, you're going to start adding a cow here and there, second pit mine whenever you feel safe. But if you're playing against aggressives, you do not want to just go no units and cow boom immediately. You're probably going to have a pretty bad time. Or at the very least, you're going to lose all your gold on the pit mine. So, next one is this game. So it's Rus versus Malian. I went for the second scout. Obviously, you want to deny the bounty. But what we're going to be focusing on here is not on sofas. And the reason for that is, I personally, you can go sofas. It's not like it's incorrect move. But going sofa into whatever is not as strong against civs that like to do cavalry because they have knights and you have sofas, right? So that's something that you need to pay attention to. In this game, I could have gone for mass sofa plus donzos if he was going knights too, because obviously I'm not going to go archers against knights. So if you're playing against a knight civ and they are making a lot of cavalry, you can go sofa, you can do the raiding, but then you're going to have to transition to like mass barracks, Musafati warrior, donzos. You do not want to go from sofas to archers or javelin throwers if the enemy is making knights too, because then you won't have any hard counter to their cavalry. Same opening, you know, nothing different here. Got my gold, getting the villagers, but this time around, I'm not going to go for stables because I'm playing against Rus. He gets a really good Kremlin here, defending his deer and his berries. And his stone, actually. And kind of protecting the woodlands as well. So this Gremlin was really good. I'm going to age up with 5. Again, 4 or 5. It's fine. 4 on food. And now I'm getting wood because I want to be able to build production buildings if needed. So what I'm doing right now, whenever you play against a cavalry civ, you want to scout if they have stables. So if I was playing against French, I would immediately throw down barracks like very, very soon. But because I'm playing against Rus, I'm, trying to scout. Does he have stable? Is he planning to make one? Is he not? In this game, I saw that he is not, so I decided to go for a house plus mining cap first. And I'm getting wheelbarrow immediately, like I mentioned previously. And I'm going to get double broadaxe with all my gold. So the first gold you want to use is going to be for your upgrades. They're very, very important, so make sure you get that. There's a double broadaxe. And I'm going to go for a lot of villagers and wood. Again, usually you go for 12, 13 if you're going to cow boom. But this game, I go for even more because I wanted to build production buildings and push. In a little bit, when I go for another scouting route, I see that he had like 10 plus villagers on gold, which means that he's trying to rush castle. So I try to put some pressure, and it's never a bad idea with Malian to put some pressure. And I would say this is kind of the main thing that has changed over time with the Malian cow boom. Malian cow boom always used to be super passive, right? If you get attacked, you defend, but you never attack the opponent. You're always the one defending. But the meta has changed a little bit because people realized, well, if I start cow boom, I can also make a barracks and javelin throwers, right, from archer range, and I can just push. Because what's the worst thing gonna happen? You can deny them from, wood or food or gold. And then even if they age up, I mean, what are they gonna make, right? They can make knights, which you have donzos for, or they can make men-at-arms, which you can just make Musafati warriors for. So people realize that you don't need to age up super fast with Malians. You can actually put pressure and deny your opponent some economy, and then age up after them. It's completely okay. Because people always used to rush, like, oh my god, but people realize, oh, I can just make Musafatis and kill any men-at-arm. So, again, double cow. I'm gonna slowly start rallying onto the gold. I got my second pit mine a lot quicker. This is a little mistake. I got my second pit mine a lot quicker this game than the last game because I didn't build stable, so I went for the pit mine first. I'm doing the cow boom, because again, there's no threat. I've been scouting. There's no stables. There's nothing. And I see villagers being rallied. And now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see, okay, is he attacking or is he aging up? If he is attacking, then obviously I would, play a bit more defensive perhaps. But if I see that he is no production buildings and he's just trying to rush castle as fast as possible, then I'll attack him and put some pressure to try to deny him of resources, right? So the cow boom is going, it's happening. More cattle ranches are going up. I got barracks up. And I got my archer range. So technically we both boomed at the same time. I'm gonna get some javelin throwers in case he has archers so I can defend my donzos. And now I just go for an attack because I know he has no units. So what's the worst thing that can happen, right? This was a bit... Wait, did I not see this? In the game, I actually did not see this, by the way. If I saw that, I mean, I couldn't have done anything with donzos. I could have put maybe javelin thrower, but javelin thrower is too late. So I go here, I deny him of the gold. And this move might not seem like a lot. And this might be like, oh, but you haven't accomplished anything, right? Like, you went there and he just moved away and that's it. But he's not mining gold right now. So what he would want to do is get a lot of upgrades. Because he hasn't gotten any eco upgrades. He would probably want to start upgrading units to veterancy, get eco upgrades, and get warrior monks or relics. But just because of this small move, similar to the warrior scout in the previous game, he can't mine gold, and I can just sit here, right? Even if I lose these units, it's whatever, it's few units. But the amount of gold that you're denying is quite big. My cow boom is almost completed. And I have some more units just in case he goes like knights or something. I'm making a Musafati in case he goes men-at-arms. And he does have a barracks here, so yeah. And he's going crossbows. Now this is the thing about this game. So in this game, I was going to go for sofas. I was going to go sofa, some javelin throwers, and then donzos if he goes knights, or Musafatis if he goes for men-at-arms. But what ended up happening is the power of scouting. So here, right here, I saw 5 crossbows and triple archer ranges. So I said, okay, well, he's clearly expecting me to go sofas. He's preparing in advance to go crossbows against sofas. So I'm just not going to go sofas. and then his crossbows are kind of completely wasted as a unit in this matchup. Obviously, crossbows are still okay against other units, but you know, he's obviously preparing for Sofa. So if he has like 10-15 crossbows, I don't want to make a Sofa into it and like, you know, get dented immediately. Like, you don't want to counter yourself. So I also made a little tower here, and I upgraded Sprinkle Emplacement and Fortify Outpost to deny boar and deer. That's something you can do. I age up, and now I'm adding more production, and I'm adding archer ranges and barracks, so I will not be going cavalry at all this game. And if you look, right now, he's going men-at-arm, archer, crossbow, kind of trying to counter Sofa, whatever playstyle right now. I'm getting my eco upgrades, I'm getting military upgrades, I'm getting a mosque once again, so very similar to the last game. And now, his whole unit count is just ranged units. So instead of countering myself, I just adjusted my build. I killed 4 or 5 crossbows there, it's already a good start. He aged up first, have that in mind. He aged up first, and I still got 2 relics, which is pretty good. You know, if the opponent ages up a lot faster than you, and you still manage to get 2 relics, that's okay. So here he goes for like a militia gremlin unit push, which doesn't really work out. I have a Springle Tower here too. And now I feel in a really good spot, because he is kind of committed. He's made this production of archer ranges and barracks. He has no stables on the field, which I know about. So all I need to do now is just make Musafati warriors and javelin throwers. My goal is, again, to take the relics and slowly capture the sacred sites, and maybe go for stone and keep on the sacred sites too, or maybe keep on the big gold on this side. So he's trying to wall along this side, doesn't work. And now he has no units. He doesn't have proper units to counter this, right? He just has archer, javelin throwers, or 5 men-at-arms, and that is not enough to fight me, right? You can do these kinds of dives with javelin throwers because they have so much ranged armor. So even if PC shoots at you, it's not a big deal. And right now, this is kind of the power of Ilalu and the Malian. You can pump out so many units. So if you look, I do have less workers, but obviously I have cows too. But the unit count increases so much more because your units are pretty cheap. And I can just spam the hell out of them. I have a lot of production, 7 barracks, 4 archer ranges right now. I'm also making poison arrows, just in case. You know, I got plenty of resources, so might as well. I'm trying to harass wherever I can. I deny him of the gold again. So I'm just kind of posturing right now. I'm not trying to end the game. I don't want to attack into Gremlin and lose everything. I just go around, I deny the gold, and because of the way the map spawned, I know that he only has gold here, which I see from this tower, and he has the other golds here. So as long as I stay in this position, he's not getting any gold except for relics, and he would be in, you know, he's just out of gold. So what can he make? He can make some men-at-arms and archers in this point, right? I decide to just torch down the landmark. I'm still poking with javelin throwers. I see the siege workshop right here, so I know I have to be careful about mangonels. Now, dealing with mangonels with this kind of unit comp, you can go for Springle, or if the opponent is fighting on open, you can also just go stealth with the Musafati warriors and try to snipe the mangonel. So here he's trying to fight, but I have enough Musafati warriors to fight these guys, even though my army, or 3 Musafatis, there's more coming. And in the back, what I like to do is you select all your javelin throwers in one control group, you shift click like this, as many units as you can, and then you can take the other half like this, and then shift click other units. So basically what you want to do is shift click micro with 7-8 javelin throwers at a different archer. So instead of overkilling one archer, you know, by like 300 damage, if you do 7-8 javelin throwers per archer and you shift click everywhere, it's hard to do, but if you get it down, it's your army is way stronger. Then look what happens. So now when I'm attacking, you can see that javelin throwers are hitting here, they're hitting here at the same time. So a lot of more archers are dying at the same time. So he loses this fight, and at this point, if you're playing this Malian Cowboom, this should be game over. The reason for that is my unit count will not stop like producing. I have so much food from the cows. I still have berries, I have deer, berries, I have deer on the top side. Meanwhile, my opponent is out of food already. He doesn't have anything here. He has to transition to farms. Okay, he has some berries here. This I denied. So he will have to transition to farms eventually, which will further, you know, increase my lead. I do some kind of run by here. Just buy myself time. I get some rams. And I just go to kill the town center. He hasn't repaired the landmark yet. PC goes down. Now, if you're controlling the sacred sites in this situation, the best thing you can do is just keep producing units and spend all your resources, especially if you had some kind of lead. Or you can do what I did and just start securing the sacred site. So because I had a keep here, I'm getting boiling oil, I decided to age up with a landmark here. I should have put this landmark here, by the way, to protect the big gold. And then eventually I put keep on the north side. So now I'm pushing my opponent into like an even more uncomfortable position. And the reason why it's even more uncomfortable is not only I have more units, and if he comes out, I'll beat his ass, but I'm also putting keeps on each sacred site. So not only he needs to have more units than me, which he doesn't, but he also needs to make siege, which he doesn't have the resources for. So that's what happens when you put keeps on the sacred sites. You force the opponents into kind of choosing, like, are you gonna make siege or are you gonna make units? If he makes a lot of siege, like trebuchets, then you keep making units and you can just overwhelm them. So right now I age up to imp. I'm gonna get my javelin thrower upgrade first because I have so many of them, and I'm gonna get Musafatis as well. And yeah, at this point this game is pretty donezo. Yeah, there's a keep on the top side, and now all I gotta do is wait, or I can also attack. So another thing you can do is whenever you're controlling sacred sites, you can also just attack and ignore your opponent trying to decap and do damage behind it. I go here where I know his gold is. I break through the wall. I send some units in, again, just to deny resources. He's going on the bottom side, and Mangonel gets popped. I can see the age up, by the way, with this tower. But I know he's not mining gold, so, you know. Oh yeah, he came here just now. I'm getting bombard or cannon emplacement, trying to deny that. Sacred site, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And now the best thing I could have done here is just stood and waited for the sacred site timer. But I went for the attack because, I mean, I felt confident I can win at this point. I rallied some food on this, some units on this side to decap the sacred site. He goes for a push. Wow, look at that. Look at that. He did not decap it. Wow. He goes for a push, and I'm just kiting with javelin throwers as much as I can. And again, I'm doing that thing with javelin throwers where you will see now javelins are attacking different targets. So look, 1, 2 over here, 3. I have 3 different groups of javelin throwers just attacking different sides of archers, and they're absolutely melting them. The Musafatis are melting all the men-at-arms. So yeah, I managed to hold the sacred site, and I managed to win. So that's kind of the 2 ways to play the Malian Cowboom, where one is cavalry heavy and one is more like infantry heavy, that I personally like to play against. Like I said, cavalry civs, like French, like Rus, like Jeanne d'Arc, because if you manage to push those civs that want to go for knights, want to go for cavalry, if you manage to push them away from that playstyle, then you're kind of removing the strengths of that civ, and you have a favorable matchup, which is why Malian is so good against civs like French and Jeanne d'Arc, in my opinion, because if you can get him away from the knights and that whole thing, then the game becomes a lot easier, easier for you. How do you manage creating the 3 separate javelin groups? I don't create 3 separate javelin groups. I just have javelins on one control group. I shift click a bunch of stuff. Then I select like 1/3. I shift click again, and then I select the 2/3 of the javelins, and then I do it again. So I don't have 3 different control groups for it. I do it manually. So that's it. So that's gonna be the Malian Cow Boom. Now I'm gonna mention this. I don't have any games with this. I haven't practiced with this, but I have seen some players do this, where they do go for Malian Cow Boom and they pump a lot of units, but they actually go Farimba behind it. So they do everything I just showed you guys, right? Everything I just showed you. Build, everything is the same, except they don't age up with Grand Fulani. They age up with Farimba, and instead of putting villagers on like food, they put 20 plus villagers on gold, and then they produce like archers or musufaris out of Farimba, and they only produce sofas out of all the stables. So it's kind of like Cow Boom into Farimba, I guess. And I think the idea behind it is that you have more initial power, even though it doesn't scale as well later on because well, Farimba is gonna drain your gold really, really quickly. So that's something you guys can try as well. That is the Malian Cow Boom for Season 6. I hope you guys learned something new. In general, against more aggressive civs, just play patiently, delay your second pit mine. If you're playing against passive civs, feel free to be more greedy, skip units, or you can do the stable into the scout. Or if you're playing against kind of middle of the road where the opponent is also going TC, but you might see some fighting, do what I did in kind of game 2, where you do go for boom, but then you follow it up with a lot of units to kind of just start fighting and start trading. Because as long as you have cows, this is the advantage of Malian. As long as you have cows and cow boom, the opponent has to go out on the map to get food, and you don't. And that's kind of where you can get your W's. That's it. If you're watching this on YouTube, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the guide. I hope you learned something new. Try out Malians. They're still very, very good civ, and I love playing them. Thank you for watching. Check me out on Twitch or Pro Live right now. Twitch gamers, let's keep going.